Yeah, this is Billiam, and by 1997, MTV had already gained the reputation that it no longer played music, and its viewership and cultural influence was waning. So, in an attempt to capture a new millennial audience, parent company Viacom wanted to make MTV the frontman to their new, iconic glass box headquarters right in the middle of Times Square, where viewers could be a part of Total Request Live, not only as a live audience member, but at home, voting for what music videos they wanted to see. Kids would rush home after school to see their favorite artists live on TRL, as Total Request Live came in at the right time to capitalize on the boy band craze, and new pop stars like Britney Spears, helping MTV to regain its relevance in the music industry. With TRL as their flagship show, from 1998 to 2008, MTV dominated pop culture. But while TRL had good, consistent ratings, during this era, reality shows were still the biggest shows on MTV. The Osbournes became a cash-printing cultural phenomenon.
The Osbournes has become a phenomenon. It's sort of like, Sharon!
Come on, Sharon. I'm fucking Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of fucking Darkness.
And Cribs got audiences closer than ever to celebrities.
What's up, y'all? Big Snoop D-O double G. I want to welcome y'all to my house.
But its other reality shows tried to represent extreme versions of the audience themselves. MTV had this allure that maybe you too could be famous one day. Maybe you will also have your mansion featured on Cribs one day. And when you're a big celebrity, one day you're going to find yourself in a very strange situation. It's going to be very stressful. And just when you think you can't take anymore, you're going to look over your shoulder and see your best friend alongside Ashton Kutcher, because you just got punked.
Anything to make you feel like an idiot, a moron. If you're pissed, you probably got punked.
The TRL decade is the last time MTV had a strong identity, and the last time it had any major cultural influence. So I wanted to take a look back at the biggest shows of the era where MTV reigned. The holidays are here, and you can stay connected with your loved ones using today's sponsor, Mint Mobile. Switching to Mint Mobile is easy and can be done online, which is great because I love shopping from the comfort of my own home, especially during the holiday rush. Easy as pie. You can sign up online and activate in minutes with eSIM from the comfort of your own home. Even easier, you can bring your own unlocked phone or shop the latest phones with Mint. Either way, you get to keep your phone number and all of your existing contacts when you switch. And because Mint has your back, 96% of customers say they are satisfied with Mint's customer care. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. All plans include unlimited talk and text from the nation's largest 5G network. And if you need to make a call to Canada, the UK, or Mexico, it's free, and hotspots are included as well. Easy as cheese. Mint offers 5, 15, 20 gigabyte and unlimited data plans. You get to pick the option that works best for you. And all plans have an unconditional 7-day money-back guarantee. And for a limited time this holiday season, you can get 50% off an unlimited premium wireless plan from Mint. Lock in Mint's lowest price of the year and pay just $15 a month for a 3, 6, or 12-month plan. Thank you so much to Mint. Now back to the video. Total Request Live was created by MTV executives Bob Cusbett and Tony DeSanto, who were told to fire most of MTV's video jockeys and create a slate of programming that would take advantage of their new glass box Times Square studio. Without a doubt, TRL was the result of market research and executive decisions. In a PBS Frontline documentary, MTV was described as being commercial in its decision-making from the very start. Music videos, creative as they may be, are at their core commercials to sell records. And TRL itself was really a merging of several other MTV shows. By far, MTV's most popular new VJ was Carson Daly, a perfectly average white guy.
My name's Carson Daly, and I'm completely average in every way.
But Daly set himself apart by having passionate, intimate knowledge of music. He had cut his teeth as a DJ in Los Angeles and made himself an essential name on MTV by hosting TRL's predecessors: the live talk show MTV Live, the pre-recorded countdown show Total Request, and the Carson Daly Show, which one MTV producer referred to as a kind of kitchen kitchen sink show. They were doing everything. And Total Request Live wrapped it all into one package. MTV had previously experimented with all of the different elements of Total Request Live through different shows. They teamed up with Intel to create MTV Interjam, which let viewers interact with their favorite music videos online, and Dial MTV featured VJs playing viewer requests as a part of its format. But TRL, being in the middle of Times Square, begged for a live audience. The first broadcast was on September 14th, 1998, and within just a few weeks, the show would be huge. The first top 10 videos featured a range of popular artists at the time, including Usher, Alia, Monster Magnet, Monica, Marilyn Manson, Aerosmith's song written for the movie Armageddon, Just the Two of Us by Will Smith.
It's a full-time job to be a good dad.
But it would really be spots number 1 and 2 that would really signal what TRL's impact on pop culture would be. At number 2 was NSYNC's Tearing Up My Heart, and at number 1, the Backstreet Boys' I'll Never Break Your Heart. MTV and boy bands had a symbiotic relationship and grew together. This era was dominated by pop stars, a fact which was further cemented in November of '98 when MTV would premiere the music video for Britney Spears' Baby One More Time. I was literally a baby when this song came out. I don't even remember learning about it. It was just always there. Britney, Backstreet, and NSYNC all cut their teeth in Orlando, Florida, which attracted young stars through the Mickey Mouse Club, gracing the same streets as It's a Small World and Hot Dog Heaven. And this fresh young talent out of Orlando attracted business tycoons who were eager to monetize their youthful and colorful sensibilities. As TRL went on, slowly the crowd trickled in, congregating daily outside the MTV studio before finally thousands flocked to Times Square on Sunday, May 16th, 1999 to watch the Backstreet Boys perform live as a way to promote their new album, Millennium, which featured I Want It That Way as a lead single. Is this why archaeologists do what they do? To learn about the past? TRL took advantage of this boom of neatly packaged boy bands and pop stars, and within a year, it was the most popular show on MTV and the most popular cable show in its time slot, as 3:30 in the afternoon became essential after-school appointment viewing. When crowds got too big, the police would ask MTV to lower the blinds because people would back up into traffic to get a good view. For the first several years, Britney, Backstreet, and NSYNC basically created an iron wall around the number 1 video spot on TRL, but the top 10 was an all-star lineup of the time. TLC, Christina Aguilera, Destiny's Child, Jennifer Lopez, Korn, Limp Bizkit, Eminem, Blink-182. Within just a few months, MTV's ratings had bounced back along with its cultural influence. It wasn't just about the music videos, as the show became an essential PR stop in New York for artists promoting tours and new albums, and even movies. And with celebrity and audience participation, the live format was both a blessing and a curse. Like when a group of Backstreet Boy fans lost a trivia contest against a group of NSYNC fans.
You're very pissed off, Tiffany's about to punch me in the face.
I'm gonna kill you too.
Or how about the time when Carson Daly gave praise to Prince while simultaneously insulting the kind of music they played on the show?
In an age of disposable music, it's great to have a record out.
You don't promote any of that disposable music, do you?
Well, I gotta pay rent.
Several major pop culture moments happened live on TRL. Destiny's Child gave their last appearance as a band on TRL, but the show also created some really surreal moments.
So I'll stand together like a happy, fun bunch. Yeah, happy group.
Famously, Mariah Carey would show up to the studio unannounced alongside her crew, who barged their way into the control room. It looks like she had something planned. She brought a little cart full of ice cream and took off her clothes to reveal a second outfit, and then she was later hospitalized for exhaustion that week. She had a plan, but it just ended up being a legendary crash out. P, as in Predator, Diddy, had his office right across the street from MTV and would make more appearances than maybe any other major celebrity. During one broadcast, he'd run on a treadmill for the entire hour, all while Britney Spears wiped his sweat off. The reason? He's raising money for the kids. Because of the impact TRL had on record sales, labels would try to rig the results by having low-level interns call in or log on to skew the results of voting. The label behind Limp Bizkit gave instructions to their fans on how to delete their browser's cookies so they could vote again and again, incentivizing their fans with prizes, giving away Limp Bizkit t-shirts, or a chance to win a Fred Durst signed Sega Dreamcast. That's so 1999. TRL had the height of its influence right before the rise of social media, and it succeeded for many of the same reasons. It gave often unpolished looks at celebrities, gave an illusion that that audiences were hearing the music they wanted to hear, and with initiatives like VJ for a Day, which saw Jesse Camp and Hillary Burton get long-lasting hosting spots on the show, it told the audience that they too could be VJs. They too could be a part of pop culture. By 2003, the success of TRL would see Carson Daly getting tapped by NBC, where he would host a show for nearly 2 decades. Yet as a central hub, TRL and the Glass Box Studio would help lay the foundation for a decade where MTV dominated pop culture. Amanda Ann Klein in Millennial Killed the Video Star writes, 1990s pop star Christina Aguilera recalls watching TRL before she was famous and wishing that she could one day appear on the show to promote her music.
I used to watch TRL like every day while recording the album. Actually, I used to, be in my hotel room like watching all my friends and being like, I want to be there, and now I'm hosting. So it sort of stands for Christina Request Live.
This was the allure to TRL. Not only could you get close to celebrities, but it presented celebrities as if they were once like you. Still, despite the success, from 1995 to 2000, MTV had cut its music-related programming by nearly 40%. According to then MTV president Van Toffler, shows like Jackass just got more press. So even though MTV at the time had this important role in the music industry, that is not to say TRL saved music on MTV. In fact, it was rare for them to play full music videos. And just like the boy bands it was promoting at the time, MTV's success was heavily due to successful market research, which is analyzed in a PBS Frontline documentary from 2001. MTV had created customer archetypes that embodied its audience. The character it had created for girls was called the midriff, and by 1999, teenage girls were understood to be one of the most lucrative customer bases, period, and MTV was selling them sex.
The midriff is really just a collection of the same old sexual cliches, but repackaged as a new kind of female empowerment. I am midriff, hear me roar.
This, of course, was something they were criticized for, but it didn't hurt them. Britney Spears embodied this archetype, and she was one of the most successful stars of the day. As for the guys, Millennial Killed the Video Star describes TRL as a kind of battleground. Although pop stars dominated the top spot, rock bands and rappers typically were in the top 10, and MTV found that pop versus rock and hip hop usually boiled down to female fans versus male fans. Korn fans of the late 1990s likely did not think rock music was something they would have to fight for until MTV provided a venue in which they might do so. The archetypal teenage boy to MTV was the mook.
Crotch.
There is no mook in nature. He is a creation designed to capitalize on the testosterone-driven madness of adolescence. He grabs them below the belt and then reaches for their wallets.
Watch my crotch!
Mooks were loud and vulgar and not afraid of getting into trouble. Research showed that professional wrestling was huge with MTV's audience, and that kind of aggressive, in-your-face attitude influenced a large part of its content strategy. Strategically, it was a unique style of degenerate comedy that helped sell it to teenage boys. Frontline on PBS used Tom Green as the perfect example of a mook.
Loud, obnoxious, and in your face. He's Tom Green of The Tom Green Show.
Originally a Canadian show, MTV picked up The Tom Green Show for a season while re-airing his old stuff too. With pure antagonistic humor, Green follows his every impulse to be obnoxious.
I just went in the drugstore and bought the condom.
He'd ask people obscene questions.
Can I borrow your baby for a second? I want to teach it to smoke through a tube.
There's been a million people like Tom Green since, but because of MTV's presence at the time, he was blown up into superstardom. When Green turned one of his bits into a music video, he encouraged his fans to vote for it on TRL, where he was able to secure the top spot.
Doing at number 3 today is Tom Green.
Yeah?
Right here, debuting on TRL at number 3.
My bum is on the cat! My bum is on the phone! My bum is all alone.
You may not know this video, but Eminem references it in The Real Slim Shady.
My bum is on your lips. My bum is on your lips.
Apparently, MTV had told Green to stop encouraging his fans to vote for him on TRL because the timing would have revealed that they had pre-taped some shows. But nonetheless, the fact that it was number 1 even once is crazy. I'm definitely not above laughing at all of Tom Green's stuff, but I find it much funnier that TV Guide called his show one of the 50 worst of all time. And his feature film, which to be fair is not produced by MTV, Freddie Got Fingered, is largely considered to be one of the worst films of all time, even though it has a cult following.
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausage?
Tom Green is hit or miss for me, but I am a fierce enjoyer and defender of MTV's Jackass. Jackass, like Beavis and Butthead before it, got a lot of negative media attention because people believed it was a bad influence. But like with Britney Spears, the negative media attention did not hurt its success. Before the show, basically the entire crew of Jackass came together through the rebellious skateboarding magazine Big Brother. Big Brother provided an alternative to the corporatized skating media of the early 1990s. The magazine popularized printing frames of video to show breakdowns of skateboarding tricks. One spread featured a skater failing a trick over and over again, hurting himself, before the next page showed them with a gun to their head. This kind of punchline is what the magazine would be famous for, aside from like nudity and other obscene things. This magazine had boobs. Big Brother wasn't just about skateboarding itself, but the culture around skateboarding. Over time, the magazine assembled much of who would become the core crew of Jackass. Chris Pontius, Steve-O, Wee Man, Bam Margera, and eventually Big Brother would put out their own video titled Shit, which not only featured skating, but sketches and pranks in between, such as Wee Man painted blue interacting with people on the street. This is proto-Jackass. Feel like an archaeologist. Funny enough, Jackass frontman, co-creator number 3, Johnny Knoxville, was not a skater. But as he tried to sell a story to publications, he found that only Big Brother was bold enough to publish what he wanted to do, to test weapons on himself, which included Knoxville shooting himself while wearing a bulletproof vest. In 2000, Rolling Stone called Johnny Knoxville a hot lunatic, and I love him for it. Beginning on MTV in 2000, Jackass featured the same daredevil showmanship of Evel Knievel combined with the slapstick consequences of Buster Keaton and the Three Stooges. It is artful, lowbrow comedy.
There's a fine line between bravery and stupidity.
Just seeing the setup to their stunt gags creates so much comedic tension. That alone is funny, but it's the gleeful commentary from the rest of the cast that solidified Jackass's formula.
What happened?
The camaraderie adds so much because of this kind of karmic justice. Sure, they're laughing now, but you know their head is next on the chopping block. The end result is always so simple. They get hurt, but the setup is where their real creativity comes in. Stilt boxing? Before you have a chance to ask why not, the gag is over and the question has been answered. That's why not, but they do it anyways. Jackass has earned itself a Wile E. Coyote-shaped hole in the history of comedy and even cinema. The Criterion Channel had Jackass the movie just a few months ago. I love Criterion movies. Its legacy is strong with people my age because of the film franchise. To promote the second film, the whole Jackass crew took over the TRL studio for 24 hours, which exemplified the larger scale of the films. Because of the larger budget, the Jackass movies have some of the best sketches they ever did. The third movie features a parody of an old Maxwell tape commercial with Ryan Dunn at the center of the action. He's sitting in a chair being blown by a gust of wind before a cut reveals he's sitting behind a jet turbine. He gets blown on his ass violently, but I think Jackass's best sketches have this eagerness to continue the gag. They start throwing things into the tailwind, watching a football fly at 100 miles an hour. So of course Knoxville has to go out there and try to catch a pass. And they always gotta tell a little story. A couple sits at a dinner table waiting for their food and Dave England walks in as a waiter carrying a serving tray before he's inevitably blown away too. But it's equally as funny when a gag doesn't really land, so it just ends up with these guys just beating the shit out of each other. It's organized chaos, but it is still chaos. I don't always vibe with the gross out humor or when they mess with animals, but it adds to the texture of the show. There's a lot of textures in this show, and I think the comedy of Jackass works for me more than, say, Tom Green, because it's usually the cast at the butt of the jokes when it's not Bam Margera's parents. Their interactions with strangers are often playful. One of my favorite sketches of all time is just the guys sneaking onto a golf course with air horns and blowing them as golfers take their swing. Even then, when one of the golfers chucks his club at one of the guys, it's well deserved. They were being annoying. With the guys getting naked, it's also great when they just embrace embrace how homoerotic much of Jackass ends up being? Them magazine, an LGBTQ plus publication, said Jackass subverted the no homo mindset by embracing its yes homo undertones, which for its era was a very bold thing to do. They even pay tribute to gay entertainers like Rip Taylor, who iconically closes out the first two Jackass films, and John Waters, who can easily be described as the progenitor of gross out humor, a legacy which Jackass proudly acknowledges being a part of. Always imitated but never duplicated with its spin-offs and film franchise, I personally will be laughing about these guys getting hit in the balls until the day I die. Hosted and produced by Ashton Kutcher while he was still on That 70s Show, Punk'd was MTV's hidden camera show that would plop celebrities into the middle of crazy scenarios. It's like a polished version of Jackass or the Tom Green Show, where the expensive production makes up for Kutcher's lack of personality. Like movie superstar Hugh Jackman is convinced he burned down his friend's house by trying to start a grill. That's such a big prank, I hardly notice Ashton Kutcher has no personality. Or like when tennis superstar Serena Williams watched a kid drive a baby away in his aunt's SUV, so Serena herself jumped in her own car and pursued the vehicle at 100 miles an hour. That went so off the rails, I hardly even noticed Johnny Knoxville would have been a better host for this show. Ashton Kutcher introduces each episode with his loud voice, which drowns out his lack of personality.
Bernie Mac gets a manicure and a pedicure every weekend. In Iowa, you get beat up.
He always has an accomplice to help set up his celebrity victims, usually a close friend of the celebrity, and they plan out and rehearse before executing these epic pranks, some of which could cost up to $200,000, which would only get them one take.
And so if you lost it, it was like you lost like, you know, $250,000, like just trying to pull a prank.
If you want to see me do an epic prank, give me $200,000. Punk'd took inspiration from other hidden camera shows like Candid Camera, which may be the first reality show ever beginning in 1948, but Punk'd is way more fantastical. Before the celebrity angle, MTV and Kutcher filmed a pilot called Harassment. This show planned to prank real people, including a couple at a Hard Rock hotel. The whole prank was they're going to plant a dead body in the pool, and in order to get better coverage for the production, they kept people locked in their hotel rooms. Imagine paying to stay at a Hard Rock and getting told you have to stay in your hotel room because somebody's filming. Isn't that low-key kidnapping? Anyways, that show was scrapped after MTV and Kutcher were sued for $10 million. So they went with the celebrity angle. Elijah Wood's friend asks him to throw his cigarette out in a dumpster, which causes the dumpster to explode, which makes scaffolding fall from the building, shattering someone's car. It's funny, but I don't know why Elijah Wood's about to cry. It's just a $200,000 prank, bro. You think this is real? We just spent $200,000 to gaslight you, idiot. I do think making celebrities at the center of it all allows me to enjoy the pranking more. I don't feel bad for anyone. Like, why would I feel bad for Ashton Kutcher's good friend, criminal sex offender Danny Masterson? In fact, he should have taken it further. The best ones are the ones that go off the rails. Like after Coconut Head from Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide spray painted Zach Braff's $100,000 car, Zach Braff punched this child.
The whole thing had been choreographed with the hidden cameras and such that I wouldn't be able to catch the little but I caught him. I started just pummeling.
Even still, Punk'd was a massive hit for MTV and forced its way into the cultural zeitgeist. For a very long time, Punk'd became synonymous with being pranked. People wouldn't say, "Did you just prank me?" They would say, "Am I being punked? I'm no one noteworthy, but there's cameras around, certainly." Now, some of MTV's reality shows tried to be like documentaries. True Life would follow regular people who had interesting stories to tell, and Diary would follow celebrities around in their day-to-day lives.
You think you know, but you have no idea.
This is the diary of Britney Spears.
But during the 2000s, they really leaned heavily into celebrity opulence. Just opulence itself. Rich people doing rich things. People didn't just want to see their favorite celebrities on live TV, but they wanted to see the behind the scenes, the glitz and glamour of their lifestyle. Beginning in 2000, MTV's Cribs gave the audience a look at celebrities' lavish mansions, and running for nearly a decade, it was a certified hit. Hot tubs, expensive cars, game rooms full of arcade machines, and fridges packed full of soda and sweets.
We'll just be honest, we just did this like 10 minutes ago. It didn't look like this at all.
Cribs gave its teenage audience something to desire. You know, the extreme materialism of these shows isn't only expensive, it's just tacky. Rappers Lil Wayne and Birdman have custom $sign rugs and sculptures throughout their home.
It ain't a cash money house without a $sign, you know what I'm saying?
They don't know that money talks, but wealth whispers. Some homes feel like they belong in a horror movie. Why does 50 Cent need a 51,000 square foot home? Costs a lot more than his namesake.
Now let me tell you the truth, right? This house has 6 kitchens.
Why does he have 6 kitchens? What would you need 6 kitchens for? Seriously? Tell me in the comments below. MTV producer Dave Cyrulnik told the LA Times, Cribs examines the stars as real people, since it's not their possessions that are the most important element, but rather the anecdotes why the possessions are meaningful to them. But critics were doubtful. Cintra Wilson for the LA Times wrote, do the executives honestly think they got to the molten human core of Pamela Anderson just by slobbering over the shabby chic armoire in her beach cottage? Meanwhile, some celebrities on the show, like rapper Ja Rule, would just fake their wealth for clout. The New York Times reported that he rented a mansion for his segment, didn't tell the owner he was gonna put it on MTV, trashed the place, and was sued by the owner soon after. And it turns out a lot of celebrities embellished their segments for the show. 50 Cent and others rented expensive cars they showed off, claiming that they were their babies.
This is my baby. This is my baby. If you want to wake up the baby, you call the big baby.
My baby right here.
Baby red.
That baby's rented from a car rental place in Miami. So it's not fake it till you make it, it's make it and keep on faking it. Whoa. Pop star Robbie, not actually a CGI monkey Williams, showed off a mansion that actually belonged to actress Jane Seymour. At that point, why not just have her on?
Jojo, welcome to my crib. Come inside.
This 13-year-old pop star named JoJo, not JoJo Siwa, showed off her uncle's house as her own, because why would a 13-year-old own a crib? She and her mother were living out of hotels at this point. So why did she say yes to this? Why did MTV ask a 13-year-old to show off her crib?
I bet you haven't seen one of these. This is like a Winnie the Pooh chair.
New York Times columnist Talman Joseph Smith wrote an op-ed reflecting on growing up watching Cribs, which he claims is a huge reason why he and many millennial children would daydream together about becoming extremely wealthy and having a fake it till you make it ethos. But not everyone on Cribs wanted to show off their fake wealth. We have real ones, like Chris Pontius from Jackass, who lives in his car and shows off the stuff in his trunk.
Where I keep all my costumes that I wear on Jackass.
Or even rapper Redman, who lives in a regular apartment.
You know, he ain't run off to the hills and buy a big crib away from the hood. You know, this apartment is right in the hood and it's nice.
To me, this is way more interesting. It's way more revealing of the human soul.
If you live alone and you like fish, this takes 5 minutes, 3 minutes to cook on a George Foreman grill.
But undoubtedly, the biggest impact this show had on pop culture was airing one episode with the Osbourne family. MTV executive Van Toffler told Variety, "We were looking to launch Cribs and we shot a bit with the Osbournes and we all kind of looked at each other and just felt like there is some wonderful serendipitous chaos and insanity in this house that people would eat up." What a loving, dysfunctional, chaotic musical family they were. Thanks to the success of metal legend Ozzy Osbourne and his manager and wife Sharon, this family was rolling in dough, and MTV would give audiences the privilege to join them in their mansion in Los Angeles through the Osbournes. The Osbournes reality show paved the way for other celebrity shows like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Because if there's anything people love more than celebrity, it's celebrity drama. Petty celebrity drama. The success of the Osbournes is literally crazy in retrospect. Just one airing would attract up to 8 million viewers, which is just totally absurd by cable standards and especially absurd for MTV. For a while, the Osbournes were the most famous family in America, despite being British, but they were still invited to the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Washington power brokers, celebrities, Hollywood stars, Ozzy Osbourne.
Watching this show, I can't deny that Ozzy is a funny guy and a great entertainer.
Now fuck off, guy. Gus, Jim, Bill, whatever your fucking name is. Your name's gonna be dead if you touch this chicken.
This show took Ozzy Osbourne, a man people literally feared, aka the Prince of Darkness who bit off the head of a bat, and turned him into a lovable dad who gets easily frustrated at simple tasks like turning on a TV.
Stuck on the weather channel. Jack, can you get this television to work?
He's just like my dad. His exasperations would usually end with him calling for his wife to come save the day.
Sharon! Sharon, please, Sharon!
Sharon was a meme before memes were a thing.
Sharon! 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 Sharon!
Then Kelly and Jack, their spoiled kids, would go on to become media personalities for decades. The entire family fights and curses at each other constantly, mumbling and yelling fuck all the time.
You're a loser. Kelly, I wouldn't talk now, would I?
The show is like a musical composition built out of censorship beeps.
Don't go out with a t-shirt with cocaine on your t-shirt and give me the knife.
Speaking of censored, don't look too closely at their multi-million-dollar kitchen, because it's loaded with mammy figures. Sometimes they censor it so we don't see it, but I know. But don't pay attention to those. Instead, look inside their whimsical drawer full of chocolate. Isn't that so relatable? If I also had so much money, I would have drawers full of chocolate. Their lavish home and belongings are a character itself.
$6 million. Buddha. A Buddha. Wow, a Buddha.
You have Ozzy's comically large teacup, Sharon trying on tacky diamonds and crowns, Jack marching around the mansion in military gear, and Kelly trying to be a pop star.
And I said, hey!
They have so much money. But MTV got into reality TV because it was a cheap way to make original content. When they started, acquiring music videos was a cheap way to get content. But by season 2, the Osbourne family's agents negotiated a multi-million-dollar contract with MTV. So even though the production was cheap, the stars were not. But this dysfunctional family banter was not only craved by millions, but criticized by many as well.
The language you use with each other, fuck off, you know, kiss my ass. I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's good. I don't think they can respect themselves very well and do that.
Therapists analyzed the Osbourne family, with one therapist sharing their thoughts to ABC News, with one saying the family's tendency to turn any conflict into a shouting match might make the children yellers and screamers as adults, something that could hurt their relationships and careers. But Sharon Osbourne responded by saying, "They can suck my freshly lipoed ass because no, we're not perfect in all of this. If they want to grow up to be yellers and screamers, so what? So what? Did Sharon not know her son would grow up to be a ghost hunter? That's what's so what."
Because they kind of live in the shadows, and so you can sometimes see the peekaboos.
I'll say it. You should have raised him better. And so much of the criticism was just about how Ozzy Osbourne became MTV's cash cow. Bowling for Soup once asked, "When did Ozzy become an actor?" And Jim Derogatis of Salon wrote in 2002, there is something distasteful about the show goading us to mock him, while nary a word is ever said about his very real musical accomplishments. And something that blew my mind is the Osbournes have another child who's just not on the show. Ozzy and Sharon's eldest, Amy Osbourne, refused to be on the show, believing it undermined her family's creative accomplishments. Telling Today, the first time I saw it in the way they edited it to make my dad look like a clown, I wanted to cry. Now he is a laughingstock known as a stuttering alcoholic. After all his years of hard work and touring, this is how he's being remembered and appreciated.
Why would you not want to participate with the rest of the family?
Okay, I want to be a singer, and I felt if I would have stayed with the Osbournes and done the whole Osbourne thing, I felt as though maybe I would have been typecasted right away before I had a chance to experience other things.
This is an interesting and somewhat respectable choice for Amy to make as a singer and songwriter, especially since Kelly had her music career written into the contract of season 2. MTV stated until the Osbourne family signed a contract, they wouldn't play Kelly's debut music video on the channel. Isn't that crazy? But you know what? The absent Osbourne couldn't stay away from MTV either. Amy performed in an MTV original movie, a modern twist on Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights.
What?
Whoa, bite my head off, bitch.
What do you want, bitch?
I want you to blow off your mom's lame cocktail party this weekend.
Gladly.
I just think that since we're headed back to school soon, we should go play nasty with the locals.
Absolutely. Where and when?
Well, I overheard these two talking about this party at the lighthouse.
All right.
The movie is shot horribly, performed horribly, and has horrible original music in it, and it did nothing for Amy's career as a musician. The Osbournes is so interesting because when MTV first dabbled in reality TV, it was because they didn't have enough money to make a drama. The Real World was made because MTV couldn't afford to produce a competitor to Fox's Beverly Hills 90210. Instead, they made a reality show which successfully captured the youth-oriented soap opera feeling they were hoping for without spending a lot of money on it. This same exact thinking in 2004 landed them another successful reality show which tried to create a real version of Fox's The OC, Laguna Beach, the real Orange County. Taking from Cribs in The Osbournes, Laguna Beach would also flourish because of the lavish lives of the teenagers it would document.
Spring break was just around the corner, and Kristen was determined to make it one we'd never forget.
The success of the show would go on to inspire My Super Sweet 16, which contrasted luxury with the bratty attitudes of the people it filmed. The Herald Tribune at the time of its release said, "It is a show that gets its tension from observing how rich, beautiful adolescents with few discernible responsibilities, no curfew, no housework, introduce Sturm and Drang into their otherwise unfettered lives."
Not being weird.
Why are you going home?
Because I'm tired and I have intention tomorrow morning. Besides, we're not doing anything. We're just sitting here.
Standard.
This show is so dumb. Laguna Beach features high school-aged teenagers having parties, hanging out at the beach, having bonfires, living in their parents' multi-million-dollar homes. At the center of the first season is LC, Lauren Conrad, Casey, Kristen Calavari, and Stephen Coletti, who are all dealing with the love triangle. It's the core of the first season.
Kristen's the wrong girl for him. I'm just waiting for him to figure it out. Oh, and me? I'm Lauren, and my friends call me LC.
Who is Steven gonna date? LC may narrate the show, but Steven is the first one in the credits. Originally, MTV had wanted to film the lives of real high schoolers, which included filming their life in high school. However, in 2004, Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson had a performance at the Super Bowl, which famously included Janet Jackson revealing some boob. Possibly on purpose, she did have a very decorative nipple tassel, and the lyrics Justin Timberlake was singing seemed to have choreographed the boob reveal. So the school canceled its contract with MTV, and Laguna Beach, the real OC, became all about these kids' life outside of school. So their concerns about moving on to college and their petty interpersonal drama becomes the entire crux of the show. Elsie and Steven go to a fashion show in LA, as high schoolers do, and he starts flirting with the models, as high schoolers do. And this makes Elsie upset.
And Steven's got like 3 models around him. And one of them walks up and she's all, she looks at him, she's like, you are just so gorgeous. I'm just like, ah.
Then in the next episode, they go to Mexico, as high schoolers do. And Steven sees Casey dancing with some guys, and Steven calls her a slut. This is as exciting as the show ever gets. The wild part is, Laguna Beach is so boring. It's so fucking boring. I watched all of season 1. It's so fucking boring. So much of the show is two characters talking, and then skimboarding on the beach right after, talking, and then sitting in a jacuzzi, talking, and then skateboarding. The entire thing is drama, 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 and then, all right, now watch me hit this drive. Comparing it to the real world, Laguna Beach really shifted MTV's reality show strategy. The real world organized an environment where conflict was likely to occur. So did Road Rules, its follow-up. But not every season of these shows created compelling conflict, compelling stories. So by everyone who was involved's account, Laguna Beach was much more staged. MTV referred to it as structured reality. As the show was airing, people wondered if it was scripted or not, and MTV answered, yes.
You're 18, and tonight you're going to have your own birthday party without your parents there for the first time. I know you're going to have a great time.
The crew would literally storyboard the episodes, getting to know all the drama between the kids beforehand, so hopefully they could capture a version of it on screen. They would direct and frame the cast, have them reenact old arguments and conversations, and direct them into the right direction to create drama. It's somewhere between sincere and not at all. Lauren Conrad would go on to say, I was definitely surrounded by a bunch of adults saying, well, this is how it went. This is how viewers feel. They were writing a show. We did need that push in order to make it more interesting. So much of the drama is constructed from characters giving each other nasty looks, which the cast explained in a 2020 reunion was mostly out of context and created through editing. And while the show was still shot on camcorders, the crew sought to avoid chasing the action like they had done with the real world, which arguably gives that show a more documentary feel. And in an interesting choice, there wouldn't be confessionals. Characters wouldn't just talk to the camera. Often the producers would organize shoots where two cast members would dish out similar tell-all scenes to each other rather than to the producers and to the camera. The cinematographer would often shoot with long lenses to separate themselves from the subject, and it was a directive to make every shot look like a postcard from Laguna Beach. So the goal wasn't only for it to feel like a scripted drama, but to look like one too. Alex Murrell, a season 1 cast member, said it was softly scripted. I mean, think about yourself in high school, right? You're 18, you fight with a friend, then you move on in a week or two, right? But on the show, we lived that out for like 2 or 3 months or 3 episodes. They'd have to get the right shot, so you'd walk in and out of a nail salon like 15 times, you know, just to get that perfect shot. Laguna Beach had carefully constructed a narrative, and that idea was brought into its spin-off shows, The Hills and The City. In the book, Millennial Killed the Video Star by Amanda Ann Klein, Klein describes how The Hills, which saw Lauren Conrad going to Los Angeles to pursue a career in fashion, created a narrative which depended on ignoring the fact that Conrad had been given this opportunity to work with Teen Vogue almost exclusively because she was the star on an MTV show. While the real world showed that MTV could successfully create reality shows, Laguna Beach showed MTV it could create reality stars, a new kind of celebrity, and the channel would follow suit for the rest of its time on the air. Before we get to the end of the video, I just want to shout out our Patreon members. Our gold patrons are on screen now. If you want to support us, you can become a billionaire today, or just subscribe and comment down below. It all helps. I didn't even cover half of the reality shows MTV made during this era. Pimp My Ride, A Shot at Love with Tila Tequila, Run's House. I didn't talk about these shows because I really do think it's indicative of MTV's content strategy going into the 2010s, as it moved on from having an important role in the music industry, as TRL was finally canceled in 2008.
TRL forever. Right. Are you crying? You're a good actor, I can't tell. I think Diddy's having a moment.
The final TRL countdown was decided by TRL themselves and is a perfect playlist for this era of MTV. TRL was often compared to the Ed Sullivan Show, which is why I have a soft spot for the final number 10, the music video to Hey Ya by Outkast, which really captures the energy of the time. Then we had Blink-182, What's My Age Again, Usher featuring Ludacris and Lil Jon, Yeah. Beyonce featuring Jay-Z, Crazy in Love, Kid Rock, Ball with the Daba, Christina Aguilera featuring Redman, Dirty, NSYNC, Bye Bye Bye, Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way, with the number 2 spot being Eminem, The Real Slim Shady, and number 1, Britney Spears, Baby One More Time. This countdown embodies an entire decade, and a lot contributed to the cancellation of TRL. The biggest stars it had created had evolving careers, and the rise of online tabloids like TMZ shed a light on celebrity more than TRL ever could. Not for better, but for much, much worse. Then, some of the biggest pop stars of the next generation would once again come out of Disney, and adapting to the market, Disney would manage them, providing a more family-friendly image.
Damien here, wrapping up TRL. Some help from my 2 guest co-hosts, Ashley Tisdale from High School Musical, Miley Cyrus from Hannah Montana, doing great jobs all show long.
But the elephant in the room is the birth of online video and the launch of YouTube in 2005. Viewers no longer needed TRL to see music videos, and neither did the record labels. But ironically, in chasing viral moments, MTV had contributed to the creation of its biggest competitor ever. As YouTube co-creator Jod Karim cited the Janet Jackson Super Bowl incident as one of the viral clips that inspired the creation of YouTube, where Justin Bieber would later be discovered. Attempt to resurrect TRL in 2017 would be short-lived, as it no longer had a place in the media landscape. So in the past 2 decades, the only thing keeping MTV relevant in the music industry are the VMAs, the Video Music Awards, that play one night a year, leaving another 364 days every year for MTV to fill with reruns of ridiculousness. MTV didn't really move on from the music industry. The music industry moved on from MTV, but ironically, that was not the end for the channel. In fact, the height of MTV's viewership was just a few years after the end of TRL, as it successfully transitioned fully into a reality TV show channel. Its biggest show of all time is The Jersey Shore, which hardly has anything to do with music, though I would not forget that Pauly D is a DJ. See ya.